Fellas, the scheme is straightforward. We're going to be taking a look at one of the goofiest trap decks of all time, 60 card Paleo Frog. This deck is really just something to look at. We're going to be giving you a little bit of a discussion about what the deck did historically, a little bit of a card by card deck profile, and of course, some of that sweet gameplay. But first, this video is sponsored by Core. Core is an amazing hub for games where you could basically play any type of game you can imagine for absolutely free, from shooters to MMOs to RPGs. You can even use their game development hub in order to create your own games and share them with your friends. One game that I've been looking into particularly is Puppet Masters, an MMO card game where you play in a fantasy world commanding magical puppets in order to do battle. You can play with your friends in a PvE or environment, or even play against them directly in duels. With branching skill trees, a massive card collection, and the ability to see other players' fights as they're happening live, Puppet Masters blends real-time strategy and turn-based gameplay into an experience that I've honestly never seen before, and in my opinion is a fresh take on the card game genre as a whole. Use the link in the description to play Puppet Masters for absolutely free by downloading Core on the Epic Games Store. So, let's get freaky with some frogs. The Paleos are all a group of cards released in 2016 in Invasion of Vengeance, with some support released in the Dark Illusion soon after. The Paleos all have two effects. The first effect are unique among them, being removal spells in some sort of capacity. Dinomyscus is able to banish a card in the field at the cost of a card in the hand. Canadia is a Book of Moon. Olenoids is an MST, and Morella is sort of the odd one out in being a Foolish Burial Goods. However, their secondary effect is really what glues them all together. Once per chain, when a trap card is activated while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card as a normal monster, Aqua Water level 2, with an attack of 1200 and a defense of 0. This card is not treated as a trap. That line of text is very important. If summoned this way, this card is unaffected by monster effects. Also banish it when it leaves the field. This means that you are able to play a high density of easy to activate trap cards and in turn, keep recurring bodies for rank 2 play, since if you detach the Paleos being used as Xyz material, they wouldn't be banished since they're not exactly leaving the field per se. And the Paleos were played alongside Frogs, a rank 2 engine that allowed the deck to go into haymakers such as Sky Cavalry Centuria, and especially totally awesome, just an amazing card overall. And the deck saw pretty good competitive success in 2016, but in 2017 they really hit their stride with the release of Raging Tempest's most infamous card, That Grass Looks Greener. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what grass does, this is how it reads. If you have more cards in your deck than your opponent does, send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard so that you have the same number of cards in the deck as your opponent. And this is absolutely just an insane effect. You already seen what this spell can do in combo decks, such as in my Danger Zombie Thunder Pile video, but this card was especially playable in Paleo, able to set up Ronin Toad in place, dump dozens of Paleos into the grave for rank 2 spam. The possibilities were honestly endless, and this deck saw an incredible amount of play until Grass's eventual banning in the TCG. However, Paleo Frog still remains a competent shell, even in the TCG, where Grass is banned, and thanks to Master Duel's meta and ban list and the introduction of modern cards, we're able to still hit that button, mill 30, and rank 2 spam until our opponent croaks. So with that, let's get into the card by card. We're playing 3 Maxi and 2 Siphon Gear Gamma and the 1 Driver. Gamma is especially good in this deck because we're just going to be setting 4 most of the time, and because we don't have a monster on our board, Gamma is a lot easier to trigger. Really nice stuff. We're playing 1 Absolute King Backjack. Some people are playing 2 or 3. I really only like 1 because although it sort of breaks your free and griefing if you do draw Backjack, it's sort of bricky in its own nature where, like, what are you going to do with a Backjack in your hand? Set it? Like, that shit sucks. Obviously, this card is really nice if you have to mill it, but if you just see it in your hand, it's just so annoying, and I really don't like that. For our Frog package, we're playing 3 Dupe Frog, 3 Swap Frog, and 2 Ronin Toad. Ronin Toad banishes Frog's special itself, Swap is the Foolish Burial and our main normal summon, and Dupe Frog is a card that we set and hope our opponent runs into in order to search. Next we're playing 1 Fairy Tale Snow. This is a grass deck and I really like this card. It's really funny. It's not good in this particular deck, but I like it, so fuck you. 3 Upstart Goblin for consistency, 3 Card Demise because this card is goofy as hell, and our grass starters. We're playing 3 That Grass Looks Greener, again, amazing card, and a card that's a little bit underrated, Reasoning. This card is especially good in this particular deck because we're playing a ton of trap cards, meaning that we're always able to just mill at least like 10 to 15, and a couple of those are going to be our Paleos, which is really nice. And if we hit a Swap Frog, that's going to be neat as well. We're playing 2 Call by the Grave as just like insurance in case they Ash Blossom. Our grass looks greener, and just because this is generically a pretty good card. We're playing 3 Torrential Tribute, 3 Calm Pulse, 3 Fiend Griefing. This card is actually like pretty good. This card's nuts. And our Paleos, we're going to be playing 3 Paleozoic Olenoid, 3 Canadia, 3 Deinamiscus, and 3 Morella. Again, Olenoids is our MST, Canadia is a Book of Moon, Deinamiscus is spot removal, and Morella is a Foolish Burial Goods. We're playing 3 Lost Wind as just sort of a pretty good grass target because it's able to reset itself if our opponent special summons from the extra deck, as well as it sort of just being like a generically good card overall. You can play Breakthrough Skill as well, so keep that in mind. And of course, we're playing 3 Solemn Judgment and 3 Solemn Strike because counter traps are broken. Onto the extra deck, we're playing 1 Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, because Gamma can go into it and Chaos Ruler can just like mill more trap cards, which I think is really funny. We're playing 1 Sky Cavalry Centuria, essential for getting over really tough guards. 1 Cat Shark because it's funny. 1 Paleozoic Anomalocaris and 1 Opabinia. These are just our main Paleo Xyz monsters. You can play 2 of these if you want, but again, most of this extra deck really doesn't matter. I'd say only maybe like 10 cards in this are essential. 1 Totally Awesome, because rank 2s are broken, and this is the best rank 2. 1 Downward Magician for rank up plays. 1 Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, because Cavalry into Zeus is broken. 2 Link Spiders to get like different names for our Nightmares. Are playing 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and 1 Nightmare Unicorn. And of course 1 Borosword Dragon and 1 Exus Kotalker. Again, most of this extra deck will not matter. I'd say like the only essentials are like Cavalry, the Paleos, Opabinia, and Amalcaris, of course, 1 Toad, 1 Downard, and like 1 Zeus. The rest are basically just play whatever the hell you want because it really won't matter because you're not going to go into them most of the time. So let's get into that sweet, sweet gameplay. So our match is going to be against Blue Eyes Ritual. Yeah, it's going to be one of those games. Our hand is pretty good, and by pretty good, I mean we're able to set Duke Frog and 4 back row. Our back row is looking pretty nice. We have a lot of form of interruption, disruption, that sort of deal. But unfortunately, we don't really have a ton of follow-up. But after seeing the Chaos Dragon, I'm realizing, oh, I don't think we really need to worry about that. They're going to go for the Candle. We're going to go for the Solemn Strike. I don't use the Lost Wind here because I'm kind of hoping that we're able to just stop them from ritual summoning at all and that they don't really have any more levels. But they're just going to go for the Manju, and I'm realizing here we're a little bit fucked. They're going to add Inception, which is going to be able to ritual summon the Chaos Dragon that they have in hand using the Bookstone and the Pencil Plume. Unfortunately for them, they are not able to use Chaos Dragon's effect to change our Dupe from defense to attack because it wasn't summoned using a Blue Eyes. So we're going to save ourselves 3,000 damage to the face. Dupe Frog is going to trigger for once in its life. We're going to add Swap Frog, and they're going to hit us with the Manju. They're going to set 2 cards in pass, so we're going to use our Olenoids to just target one of the back row because I'm a little bit scared of the ultimate creature of destruction, and imagine my face once I see another Olenoids. This might get a little complicated. We're going to special summon Swap by discarding Rodent Totem. We're going to send Dupe Frog just to get additional material in case we decide to go for like a Link spam play. We're going to bring back Rodent Totem by banishing the Dupe Frog, and we're going to go to Sky Cavalry Centuria. This card is really important for not only Zeus setups, but being able to out goofy shit like Chaos Dragon, who is unable to be outed by traditional means. They're going to chain Compulse on our Centuria, but guess what? We have an Olenoids in grave. And guess what? Olenoids is a level 2. And guess what you put back into our extra deck? A Sky Cavalry Centuria. We're going to bring back the Rodent Totem by banishing a Dupe. That shit isn't once per turn. This card is an FCK card. Anyways, we're going to go 2 overlaid into our Sky Cavalry Centuria. We're going to go battle phase. We're going to ram into the Chaos Dragon. Centuria is going to detach our Paleo because, again, we want it into Graveyard and not the Banished pile. We're going to go Centuria into Downward Magician. I know we can't get a 4 material Zeus, but if our opponent top decks like an MST, it's going to be really funny to attach a material from deck, so that's going to be funny. We're going to go into Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus, Sky, Thunder, and we're just going to pass it back to our opponent. We're in a pretty good spot, all things considered. Our opponent really needs to top deck like an Incantation to get any of their plays online, and guess what they top deck? Bookstone. Fortunately, Bookstone isn't really too bad. They're going to bring back a Candle. They're going to use the effect of Candle. We're going to flip the Lost Wind, and they are going to chain the Olenoids of their own in their graveyard. But again, we're not really that worried because we know that ritual decks really require a ton of resources in order to get set up, especially something as goofy as Chaos. Knowing that we could just Zeus them on the activation of the ritual spell, they're just going to concede, and we're going to take that fat dub. So what did we learn today, class? The trap cards are really fucking stupid? Yeah, probably that. Let's get into the pros and cons. 1. Grass is really good. Grass is basically just like an auto win card whenever you get the chance to resolve it. And I know we didn't get a chance to show it off in the game, but once you slap down this card, you basically just like won the game. 2. Trap cards are incredibly powerful. Stuff like Torrential, the Solemns, even the Paleos, despite their age, are still really powerful in today's metagame, if not better, just because of how deck building and combo lines have really gone off in the past couple of years and how they've developed. And 3, it's a really fun deck. It's a really interesting way of playing trap cards that honestly a lot of decks are missing as of late, because Eldritch is just sort of flipping up floodgates. Grass Paleo Frog is really one of those decks that really makes you think about when you're using your trap cards, when you're using your interruption, because that can really make or break your game rather than just like mindlessly flipping up a Gozen match. And the cons. 1, this deck is really slow, because you're only able to set up a Toad at best for like offensive pressure. You're not really able to close out games once you've cleared their board, allowing them time to recover and generate more resources at hand in order to crack through your trap cards. 2, because this is a Master Duel best of 1 format, a lot more decks are playing stuff like Twin Twister and Storm in the main for decks like ours, which we really don't like. Most of your losses are going to come from just like a random Storm and like, I don't know, Fossil Fusion, like OTK garbage. And 3, this deck unfortunately just isn't as good as other trap decks. The reason why Eldritch and such are able to see so much competitive play is because of how powerful the floodgates they are running are. And because we're not able to consistently see them in a 60 card variant, or we're not able to play them, we're just sort of unable to compete at the same power level that they are able to, unfortunately. But overall, I really cannot recommend this deck enough. It's really fun. If you want to play a different variant of trap control and get that quest line done, I would highly recommend this deck in particular. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, huge thanks to Core for sponsoring the video. Please check them out down below in the description and download Puppet Masters for absolutely free. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. See ya.